Good day. My name is Ugochukwu Ukwebu. I am a cloud engineer. In this video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to deploy a WordPress application into a compute engine virtual machine on Google Cloud Platform. This tutorial builds on a previous tutorial, how to set up a compute engine virtual machine on GCP and install LAMP stack on the server. And so that's tutorial acts as a prerequisite to this tutorial. You can find that tutorial there or below as a link in the notes for this video. You can also find in the notes, you're going to find this tutorial as an accompanying blog, right? So in that accompanying blog, all the instructions and commands used in this guide are on that blog. Feel free to go copy and paste the commands from the blog so that you can follow along with this tutorial and then practice along. My video tutorials or at least follow a hands-on approach so that you can get a practical experience of cloud technologies. So let's begin. I share my screen and we begin in my Google Cloud console. So in the first tutorial shows you how to get into the console, set up a virtual machine instance, log in, CD into the server, SSH into the server, and install our LAMP stack on the server, right? And we've configured it. And some of the things we've did on that server is we have these web pages serving from that server, right? So that's that. So watch, if you want to catch up on this, if you've not watched that tutorial, follow up on it so that you can be able to continue with this tutorial. So here, our server is up and running. What we just need to do is SSH into the server, right? So to do that, I first view my gcloud command, copy it, right? There are two ways to get into the terminal. You can use the Cloud Console terminal here, which is what I'm pointing at here, but I prefer to use my Cloud SDK shell. So I copy that command, I paste it in my terminal, and I press enter because I want to get SSH access into my virtual machine instance into which I'm going to deploy the WordPress application and serve it over the internet. So I've gained SSH access into the machine. So let me CD into the website root directory of the website file of the Apache web server. So I do CD var, right? And of course, we see some files from the previous work we've done. You can see index.html, default Apache page, my info.php, and my to-do list, right? Those are some of the things we have here, right? So, but this particular tutorial is on WordPress, right? And we know that WordPress is a dynamic application. So it works with a database. And of course, in that previous tutorial, we also set up the MariaDB database on which we're going to prepare right now for WordPress. So first step, let's get into our MariaDB database as root user. So let's create the database for our WordPress application. And that command is, okay, first of all, let's see what databases we have here. So now those are the databases we have. So let's create a database for our WordPress application. Let's name the database WordPress database. Oh, good. Let's create a user for that database. And let's name it WordPress user. WordPress_user. Okay, let me make this terminal. Okay, create user, WordPress user, at localhost, identified by, here we enter a password. Identified by, let's use user at 789 dynamic, exclamation mark, and semicolon. That looks good. All right. So of course, we'll make sure we don't forget our password, our user password, so we don't get locked out of the database we created, right? So we grant that user permission to our WordPress database. Grant all on WordPress underscore database dash to WordPress user at localhost. So that's fine. So the user which we're going to grant our database application has access to just the WordPress database, and that's all. That's what it needs, right? Following with principle of least privilege, right? So our database is done. So let's see, show databases. All right, so we have our WordPress database ready to go. So let's get out from there. Let's quit MariaDB server. All right, so we're back in our root directory. In preparation for our WordPress installation, let's edit our PHP.ini script. So I seed into that. So CD 8.1, CD Apache 2. Okay, so sudo nano PHP. I like to do some fine tuning to my PHP.ini page. So one of the things I like to change, I like to update, so I want to search for max input time. It's not what I want. Let's search for it again. Okay, so that's the one I'm looking at. The default I'm looking for. The default comes with 60. That's 60 represents 60 seconds. I like to use 30. Right. So another thing I like to configure, well, is set is upload max file size. I do it Ctrl W to search through the contents on this php.ini page or script. Upload max. I don't think I typed the right thing there. Okay, upload max file size 2 megabytes. Well, you might want to do more than 2 megabytes. So just in case you want to upload large files, right? So you can do that. And that's change I like to make. I like to make some changes to post max size. 8 megabytes, it's okay, right? So let me just but I like to use 21M, right? Okay, so this is pretty much the default settings will work for most, at least a fresh WordPress application. But if you get into if you do a lot of projects, you might come across some projects that need you to upload files that are larger than what the default uh settings on PHP.ini allows you to do. So we've done that. Sudo nano is ready. We've configured our PHP.ini script. So the next thing is we want to get our WordPress application code and then install it on this server. So let's get back to Apache root server. And ls. All right. So at this point, we don't need these files again. They've served their purpose. So let's take them off. Now let's use a sudo. Do we leave my to-do list? Let's take everything off. Okay, so we have an empty directory. So let's get the WordPress default application code from wordpress.org. So the command to do that is sudo okay, we do an ls. So we have that there, right? So don't worry, there's an accompanying blog to this tutorial. So if my commands are not very clear to you, you will find a link to the accompanying blog where you find all the instructions to and all the commands used in this guide. And when you are following along, feel free to copy and paste and have a good experience with this tutorial. Okay, so the WordPress package comes as a .tar.gs file. So let me unpack that. Sudo ter dash xzvf. All right. So we see that we now have a WordPress directory there. Let's see into that. All right, so those are WordPress files. So let's move everything from there into the root directory of our Apache server. And the command to do that is sudo move all to the directory. So if we do an ls here, so everything, all the contents of that WordPress folder have moved. So let's get back to our Apache server root directory, and we see the content here, right? So let's go ahead and remove that WordPress directory. Yep. And also let's remove that latest.tar.gz. Okay, so we have this. The next thing we want to do is want to configure our WordPress application. If you notice, there is a w-config-sample.php file there. That file is a kind of a template for the file that will hold the login credentials for database application. So the one thing we want to do is we want to copy that file to, okay, I need to space them. So the copy config sample2 config.php, right? So this is by default, this is what WordPress looks for to grab the credentials for database. So let's do a sudo nano. To, yeah, edit the content of that wp config.php database. And of course, if you're working on a live server, you need to hurry up at this stage, right? Because right now your WordPress application is, and your database is quite open, and you don't want anyone to just be able to have unprivileged access to your server. So here, what was our database? We named it WordPress database, right? So we named it WordPress underscore database. User, recall we use WordPress user. And then password, we used user at 789 dynamic exclamation. User 789 dynamic exclamation, right? Of course, our host is localhost. Okay, then we need to configure salts, right? So these are the things that's kind of enhance the security of your WordPress application. Don't leave the defaults. So let's go here. WordPress gives us a utility to generate salt values for us. So let's copy that. Go to a terminal. Let's drop this there. V and get salts. Okay, so let's use that. Let's copy it. Control C, back to our terminal. What's that? Let me go down there. I paste here by right-clicking, and then I have to delete all the previous default salt values. All right, so I do a Control X to save my changes and press Y and then enter. All right. So ideally, we've configured our WordPress application. So let's go check on the server to see what we're going to see now. All right, so WordPress application is live. There's a wizard here that can help us do a proper configuration of the site. So what's that? What's the title? So what's the title for this? Deploying a WordPress application on a GCP VM tutorial. What's your username? Let's see. WordPress. Okay. Blog admin, right? Password. All right. We can select default password. So let's do an info at What do we use as email? Okay. All right. Discourage search engines from indexing the search. Yeah, you might not want to do that. You might want to make your WordPress websites to be viewable over the net. So yeah, we've set this up, installed. So let's log in. Oops. Ouch. What did we blog admin, right? Ouch, we didn't save it. That was a big mistake. So I'm gonna do this. I should have saved that, shouldn't I? I didn't copy it. Did I? I didn't copy that. Okay, let me see. Let me cheat this here. Let me copy this. I think we've done this. Okay, let's save. Let's log in. If you save login, right? Blog. Why did I forget this again? Is that what we used? Okay, let's see. I don't know. Because I was doing a tutorial and I felt like I would delete this application, so no need storing or saving the credentials I used to set it up, right? But of course, when you're working on a live server or even your own project, you want to save your login credentials, right? So I had to cheat my way around to do this. Okay, so this is it. WordPress has been installed on our server. We're good to go here. If we want to create a new post, let's test this out. Normally, it comes with a default post sample page. Let's see. Hello world. But let's make our post so that we'll see that yeah, our application is working. Add new. Okay, don't worry. There's no time for this. Let's call this? How to deploy a WordPress application to a VM on GCP. So let me copy that again. Let me save that. Save that. Done today. What's today's date? 3rd August 2023, right? So of course, the other things you might want to do, several things, WordPress, maybe add a featured image, excerpt, tags, categories, right? But that's not what I want to do here. So yeah, let's publish that. We just want to test it. So let's copy our post link, and let's drop it on over the internet, and voila, right? That's what we have. That's a WordPress application, WordPress server. So from here, once you've developed it, right? Normally in practice, if you're a backend engineer or infrastructure engineer or a cloud engineer, you set up the facility and you give credentials to the maybe the developers or the front-end developers or other developers to get log on and then make the modifications or at least set it up to production standard, right? So at least configure the front-end part of the application. But if you're a full stack person, you might want to know how to do the front-end part of things, right? So, but we've achieved the objectives for this video. We've deploy the WordPress application into a compute engine virtual machine and serve it over the web. If you're interested in learning how to all the nuts and bolts of WordPress application, how to develop it end to end and deploy a full WordPress website, there's a link to how you can get to do that in the notes sections for this blog, right? So just like I said, all the commands I use in this blog, there's an accompanying blog. While all the commands I use in this video, there's an accompanying blog where you can find all of them and copy, paste, and use it and learn how to get into the cloud and configure servers and deploy your applications into it, right? So if you find this video useful, do like and subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment section below. I will respond, right? So thank you very much. There'll be more videos. Just follow on and interact with me, right? And enjoy the cloud. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.